In this video, we're looking at more severe weather on the way, as it looks like we're going to have continuous severe weather over the next 4 days across these same areas that just got the severe weather just yesterday, and we have some severe weather we need to talk about today. Before we get into the video, go down below and hit that subscribe button. It supports the channel. But let's get right into the video. As I'm making this, the severe weather outbreak is still ongoing across the Ohio Valley and the Midwest. We are having a ton of hail reports and a ton of wind reports. There have been a few tornado reports, and even up here in Michigan, we have a tornado report from Sunday's severe weather outbreak. This will continue throughout the overnight hours as I'm making this, bringing those damaging winds and potential for hail as well. And looking at today's outlook for severe weather, you could see we have an enhanced risk, a very large area of enhanced here for the southeast, and this is a tornado and wind driven risk here for the southeast. This goes from all the way up here to from New York down there back to Louisiana. Again, a very large risk. I think this is the largest 10% tornado risk of all time for the day 2 outlook. Kind of a random statistic, but we do have a very large area of a 10% risk for tornadoes that goes from much of Virginia down there into the panhandle of Florida. So that 10% risk for tornadoes is there, and that's within a 25 miles of a point. So if you're right here within 25 miles, you have a 10% risk of tornadoes on Monday. We have a 5% risk for tornadoes around that and a 2% risk, but the 10% is taking up the majority of that risk. It looks like we do have a significant wind risk with this, not a significant hatched, but we do have a 30% risk here for damaging winds for 50 knots or greater within 25 miles of a point. So definitely expect some damaging winds across the southeast here for your Monday, and hail risk is definitely not going to be very big at all. If there is any hail, it's going to be more in this yellow area and rather small hail as well. Looking at Tuesday's outlook, we have more severe weather in store for Tuesday across the Central Plains and the Midwest. Once again, a large area for severe weather for Tuesday, April 1st. So this is not an April Fool's joke. The Storm Prediction Center does say isolated severe thunderstorms are possible by late Tuesday afternoon across the central and southern plains, with the severe threat expected to spread eastward Tuesday night. Large to very large hail, severe gusts, and a few tornadoes are all possible for Tuesday. We also have a significant hatched risk for significant severe weather across this area. So once again, significant severe storms are possible for Tuesday for, I think, the 3rd day in a row. And then we'll have Wednesday and Thursday to talk about as well. Here's Wednesday's outlook for severe weather. It's kind of the same area for Sunday. Looks kind of like a similar outlook. You can see we have a very large area of a 30% risk for severe thunderstorms on Wednesday, and that's including over 32 million people in that orange. The yellow is over 39 million people. So once again, tens of millions of people are being impacted by this storm on April 2nd. And this once again could be one of those high-end severe weather outbreaks for Wednesday. They do say in addition to very large hail, particularly with the southward extent of the risk, widespread damaging winds and several tornadoes are expected, some possibly significant. So they're already talking about potentially significant tornadoes with this risk on Wednesday, and that's pretty far out. This is day 4, so Wednesday, not that far out, but again, they're already talking about significant tornadoes potentially for Wednesday, so we definitely need to keep a very close eye on this risk, as well as Thursday's risk as this moves a little bit southeastward. For Thursday, this is the same storm from Wednesday, but just moving southeast. You can see 15% risk for storms here that goes from southwestern Pennsylvania down there to northeastern Texas for severe thunderstorms on Thursday. And it looks like we might have a break on Friday or Saturday from severe weather, but this week is jam-packed with severe weather as of right now. Let's look at the future radar for Monday's severe weather threat. We have some storms, so when this is being filmed, we do have currently storms ongoing near the Nashville area. Kind of a line of storms producing those damaging wind gusts and potentially tornadoes as well. We have some storms developing over here in eastern Texas that'll be heading eastward throughout the night. And again, this could produce some pretty dang damaging winds over here across Louisiana, across in those early morning hours of Monday. So this is going to be about 5 a.m., 4 5 a.m. here. You're going to see some very strong storms across central Louisiana, going to southern Louisiana is what we're seeing. That'll bring definitely some damaging winds. It looks like it might be bowing out as well by around 7 a.m., bringing those damaging winds. Anytime you see kind of a line of storms bow out, that's when it's producing its most damaging winds at that time. So definitely in areas like New Orleans, generally the entire southern part of Louisiana is going to be impacted by that, with again very damaging winds. Definitely cause some power outages and damage to anything that is prone to wind damage. This will extend northward into Mississippi and Alabama again on the early morning hours, 8 a.m. So that morning commute across Alabama is definitely going to be stormy, as well as southeastern Louisiana. Very strong storms across the Birmingham and Tuscaloosa area of Alabama. And then we get to around 12 p.m. This moves eastward. Once again, a stormy day ahead for the southeast, and this is when that tornado risk will generally increase across those afternoon hours. You're going to see a line of storms, and kind of some storms might be breaking up as well, but if those form into individual cells, that tornado risk is going to be there. So those storms will actually have a better chance at producing tornadoes if they're kind of alone instead of all bunched together. So definitely be aware across those Carolina states, because that tornado risk is definitely going to be pretty decent on Monday across those afternoon hours of Monday, but those storms should get out of there by the late evening hours. Let's look at Tuesday's threat for severe. This is the future radar here for Tuesday, and this is not exactly what it's going to look like, especially with the NAM 3 kilometer model, but this is the highest resolution model that we can get as of right now. Tomorrow's video will definitely be much more updated, but it looks like we might have some cells developing across those afternoon hours of Tuesday, and those are going to be more discrete. Some tornado potential is possible on Tuesday, but it's not going to be very high. But definitely some interesting cells up there in Nebraska. There's going to be some intense storms forming over here in the late evening hours of Tuesday. This is going to be 11 p.m. There's going to be a big cluster of storms pop off across southeastern Kansas, producing those damaging winds, hail, potentially a couple tornadoes. That'll hit into Missouri around 1 a.m. or so, producing those damaging winds and just kind of break up. Kind of a weird storm that just pops up in the late evening hours of Tuesday and just doesn't last very long for Tuesday. And then we do get to the early morning hours of Wednesday, but we don't have data yet for Wednesday. We can, however, look at some ingredients in place for Wednesday. Looking at Cape right now, it's not looking for too good for this northern risk. It looks like we are seeing a good amount of Cape to firestorms off across Illinois and Missouri here. We kind of have a strip of around 1,400 joules per kilogram. This is energy with an atmosphere, so this is what fuels storms, and the more the better, but you kind of just need enough to get storms to fire, and they'll just kind of pull the energy northward with the storms as they move eastward until they eventually run out of energy and moisture. But there's definitely going to be a decent amount of energy out there, especially down south. We're going to have a lot of energy, of course, 3,000 joules per kilogram. That's plenty for those storms. But once again, once you get up north, the energy is definitely going to be more sparse for these storms. Looking at surface-based cap, there's according to the GFS anyways, it looks like we're not going to have much of a cap problem at all with these storms on Wednesday. But going in and taking a look at the low-level jet, and the low-level jet is something we tell if those low-level winds are really strong, then those storms are going to be really strong, especially with some added shear to it. And as of right now, this is about 3 p.m. and that low-level jet is looking pretty strong for Wednesday, around 62 knots. So that's plenty for these storms as well. It looks like these storms might be in a more linear mode, so that'll bring more damaging winds and the tornado threat will be more embedded, and those tornadoes might not last as long on Wednesday. But again, this is another severe weather outbreak that we need to very closely watch, prepare for the worst, hope for the best over here. And once again, these same areas that are just being impacted by Sunday storms. Once again, this is looking like a strong severe weather setup for Wednesday. It's also looking very moist over here. 63 dew points. This moisture is going really up north here, especially as we get later into early April. This moisture is starting to skyrocket north here, so we're going to see much more storms in these northern states because it's severe weather season, and this is just going to continue to happen for months to come until we get something like a death ridge, which kind of hinders severe weather at some point. It looks like we were going to get one about this time, but apparently not. We're clearly seeing a lot of severe weather right now. Supercell composite is also going to be pretty high over here across these same areas. Supercell composite is showing you that chance of supercells developing, and it is looking like pretty dang good parameters for supercells developing, especially across this western Tennessee area, northern Mississippi. Anywhere that's kind of in this yellow area is definitely gonna see that potential for supercells on Wednesday. That increases the chance substantially for tornadoes. If you did enjoy the video, go down below and hit that subscribe button. It supports the channel. Make sure to like the video, share this video with any friends or family, and comment down below if you want. And comment down below if you have any questions. I'll be sure to answer them. We'll have more updates on the severe weather outbreak really soon. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe.